Just waiting for Ferry. I hope the recording is running. Is the recording running?
Yes, we have started.
Okay, just let's wait for Ferry.
Thank you everyone for joining. We'll start here in a couple minutes.
All right, so welcome everyone on this webinar where we are introducing Ataccama ONE version 17.0. We are three panelists here speaking today. Myself, Jiří Tejkl, as the head of data quality and catalog, talking about the catalog and data quality issues. Then František Budiáš, group product manager for Lineage, and Tom Vítiska, senior staff product manager for the MDM updates. So we will give you overview of what's new in this new released version 17.0. We talk about new capabilities in DQNC, including the Lineage, and also about the MDM master data management improvements. And there will be, of course, space for you for questions and answers. So feel free to post questions into the webinar UI, and we will answer them in the end of the presentation. As we have released this version 17, this is now the recommended latest version to use on both PaaS, PaaS+, and also self-managed deployment. There will be two more releases coming this year, version 17.1 and in July, and then in probably October, version 72 long-term supported. But the features that we are presenting today are only available on this version 17. So feel free to upgrade to that version if you would like to benefit of these new functionalities. There is also recommended long-term supported version 16.3.1. Right now we have released Service Pack 1. So this is the newest LTS version. And there is also one legacy version supported, version 15.4.1. And with the release of this new version, basically, there is support ended of some older versions. This is always documented in this Ataccama lifecycle policy in the documentation page, just to let you know what's supported. So now let's focus on what's new in version 17.0. The highlights are improving processing of large volumes of data, improving connectivity, especially this aspect of the security and credentials when connecting, and also improving the Lineage interface. So with that, we may want to proceed to the Lineage update. And since we are struggling with connecting one of our colleagues, so maybe he will present using wrong name or Let's see if we can connect. So sorry, just wait a few seconds and let Ferry take it over once he's there. I shared my link with him, so he may be presenting under my name. Let's see. So Ferry, just speak up whenever you are ready. Yes, so it's František, it's not me. Just sharing the links, just trying
Yes,
to improvise and overcome some technical difficulties. Sorry about that.
I apologize for my name. Okay, so on version 17, we are introducing BigQuery table level lineage fallback. So when our parsers are failing to parse the BigQuery statements, in that case, we are applying a fallback scenario. We support two fallback scenarios there. One is the using the Google API, and the other one is, which is new in version 17, is using the another like parsing approach, which is providing us very high almost 100% coverage for big query. So those queries which are like problematic or are very complex, at least for those ones we have table level lineage, and then basically there are no really gaps in the lineage. How we visualize this? We do have a combined visualization of column and table level lineage. You can see here on the picture with the dotted lines are those relations which been uh, retrieved by the fallback scanner, and those are purely table level lineage information. But the user is actually able to make lineage analysis even if there is just table level lineage somewhere in the uh, in the middle of the path. So this is how we solve the visualization. There is an indication, and also once a table level lineage is applied, then you can see upstream, which is left side from this arrow there. The diagram is switching to table level mode because we are losing there the column level granularity. So it should be pretty transparent for the user, like when that table level information is, or table level lineage is applied, and when there is still column level lineage available. So that
So
was in a nutshell the new feature.
yeah, so this is the like wrap up or this is a new feature that is available in version 17, but of course you see it combined with the existing capabilities that you can benefit of in version 16.3, which is the lineage diagram with the overlaid data quality and overlaid business terms. And now basically this new feature makes this picture much more complete because you see as the diagram is adopting and combining this attribute level lineage here and here, for example, and connecting these missing pieces with literally this dotted line, so that it still gives you the best overall view of a relation between the different tables as the data flow through them. So thank you, Ferry, for presenting this feature. And now let's focus on improvements in data quality and the catalog. One of the long-awaited improvement is support for asset promotion, as when you are developing the data quality configurations, the monitoring projects, DQ rules, some components being created in a desktop, and then you are developing it in a different environment. So you have dev, test, production environments, and then you have a practice for testing these improvements first in one environment, and then after everything works, to promote it to the higher environment. Then we have extended the support for this particular workflow. It's built on top of the existing export and import functionality, but the functionality has been improved with the idea of that what you test in the lower environment, you want to may move it as like it as in as simple and as few steps as possible into the higher environment and make sure that everything deployed and published in the higher environment will behave the same way as has been already tested. So we extended the export functionality with the capability that, for example, when you are exporting monitoring project, but it applies also to smaller units of work, like, for example, a rule with some dependencies. But if you export monitoring project, then in order for it to behave the same way in the upper environment, it consists of some rules. Those rules may be component rules. So there are components created in one desktop. There may be some SQL catalog items involved also inside of the monitoring project. So the export functionality now collects all of these dependencies for you and to export them as a one zip file. So basically the operation is easy. It's as it used to be. You select monitoring project and export it, or you go to DQ rules, select one or more DQ rules and export them in a package. So this is the export part. And then the import part, this is the export screen where you just name the package and then export it to a file. And then on the import side, we import the package and we show you what's new in that, what has been created during this import, or what has been modified, what has been removed, and what are the unchanged entities. There is a drill down to see detailed view of what's different. So for you to review during the import, you can select whether the import should be automatically published or whether it should be imported into the unpublished state and allowing you to do a manual review and then publish it. And on top of just checking what's in, there are these validations. So we are validating that there are no assets missing in the target environment. We are basically validating that by applying this import, everything will work as expected. Nothing will break. With this functionality, we are promoting certain like pieces of work, certain entities, like the DQ rules or monitoring projects or business terms, and we are not exporting, importing the other intentionally. So, for example, in connections, the connections are different between like source and target environment. The catalog items and then the tables contain different data. So we are not moving the histories of running of these monitoring project, histories of profiling, and we are somehow providing the way of remapping the names and the locations of tables from in source and in target environment, so that the process of like promotion itself is really like import and that's it, or import and publish without any intervention and any manual remapping and resolving of the conflict. So there is a section of configuration where you can configure the mapping of locations and names of like stuff of tables and resources in the target environment. So then the promotion itself is a foolproof process. We've been considering some ways of like making it even more automated, like one click and it will export from one environment, import to the other. And we dismissed this idea because we have some strong requirements from quite a lot of customers in banking industry and insurance of not connecting these environments in any way physically. So there is an intentional barrier here where the export goes to your local machine. It can be encrypted for consistency and privacy of the data. But then from your machine, it gets imported in the target environment. And currently, this is by design because we wanted to avoid to really creating some tunnel, some persistent connection between those environments in cloud or in self-managed deployment, to basically avoid any like breach and any lateral motion from some lower environment where the access may not be as strict to the production environment, right? So within these constraints, we have created this feature to be as simple, as foolproof as possible. So it's about 3 or 4 clicks for doing the export and doing the import, and this is basically as simple as we were able to make it and still be pretty secure. So this was asset promotion. We have extended the way of managing larger volumes of data. So you probably know that we have the data slices feature for monitoring projects where you can define data slices on a catalog items, basically filter the data by date. So let's say you have 30 years of history of some transactional data in a table, and you don't want to process it all again and again because it's not giving you any new insight into what's happening in your environment regarding data quality. So since probably version 16.1 or maybe even older, you can apply this to monitoring projects. You create data slices, and then when using the table in a monitoring project, you can pick one of these slices that you have defined or select a full table. Now we have extended the support of data slices for data quality and profiling in the catalog. And the use case here is like this. If you have several usually huge tables that just contain too much data to profile regularly and to apply data quality at, and it's because of there's like this old data, uninteresting values present in the table. Now this is the mechanism that allows you to select, to create a like this default data slice and assign the data slice to the catalog item and onboard it into catalog and have it covered by both profiling and assigning business terms, and also have it covered in a sense of applying data quality in an efficient way, applying the slice. The limitation is you can set one slice for the catalog item to basically to have all these other workflows that we have in a catalog consistent. Once you set this one slice for the catalog item, it's then indicated in the results. Whenever at any place where this filtering, this data slice is being applied for filtering the data, we are indicating, like you see here, that it's actually this restricted view and that it's filtered view, not the complete table. And it applies then to all the places like the data quality, the observability, or data export, all the other cases. And the case here is to enable processing large tables in a catalog without spending like wasting resources, or without some tables are so large that without filtering it's not even practical to process them. Another smaller improvement, downloading profiling results as an Excel file. If you have profile of the catalog item, then you can drill down into this, like from the overview into this detailed attribute view, and very often it's easy to link just to this profiling view. If you want to share it with someone in your company, you just send them the link to this page. It's easy, but sometimes you intentionally don't want to onboard these people with whom you are sharing the profiles to the catalog. Like in case of some documentation, some regulatory documentation purposes, or some audit purposes, you may want just to include the saved profiles as a part of documentation of your data assets. So for these cases, we have this export as an Excel file functionality. This works basically by creating and letting you download the Excel file containing current profile. There is some information regarding which catalog item and when it was profiled. Then there is the overview sheet, which shows overview of the attributes, very similar view that you have at the overview page in the UI. And then you may see that there are these sheets for every attribute with the drill down. So these they are linked from here, and each attribute sheet looks like this. It has some static like format, so it's even useful for some like machine post-processing of this data, because everything is as a separate columns, everything is in this fixed format. And of course, the page or the sheet will differ if it's like whether it's like this one is string attribute, so it has some mask analysis, pattern analysis. For number attributes, the statistics look a little bit different. The profile is containing different metadata, but within these like attribute types, these schemas are, or the formats are fixed. So this allows you to document the current shape of the data, usually for some regulatory or review purposes. we have added the catalog sweep, like scheduling for the catalog sweep operations. I think I believe in 16.3 we have introduced, or maybe even earlier, we have introduced this sweep operation, which allows you to synchronize catalog with the data source in the direction to remove the catalog items that are no longer relevant. So you know that this automated documentation flows allow you to populate catalog automatically. So as the number of tables grow in your data source, or even as you are changing the schema and as the data source is evolving, we are populating the catalog, and there is more and more context being ingested automatically, and also it can be profile and business term assigned automatically. But when for cases when the tables are disappearing, it's not being synchronized automatically, or it did not to be so. And there is good reason for that, because depending on how your pipelines are being constructed, those tables may be intermittently like disappearing and reappearing from the data source if we don't want to delete the catalog content with the history of the catalog item and all the data quality rules assigned, etc. Like on like inadvertently, like by accident. But we have provided the manual flow recently, like in a previous release, where you can select and bulk delete these items that are no longer present in the data source. And now we are providing it as a documentation flow that can be scheduled. So now you can create a schedule if you have some parts of your data landscape where this is happening regularly, that there are new catalog items appearing and old one disappearing, and it's by intention, and you want to keep the catalog in sync, avoid having some waste, some irrelevant links, irrelevant metadata about tables that are no longer there. You can now schedule the sweep operation. You select the frequency and basically set it and forget it, and it will be removing these catalog items automatically for you. There is some like guardrails for not removing catalog items that are just disappearing for a short time. There is some timeout like value that you can say something that has not been maintained for a certain amount of days will be removed, and something that just intermittently not visible will not. So it should be pretty safe. So for some parts of your warehouse, or for some connections, it may be very helpful to configure this as an automated operation, so that the catalog you are providing to other like organizations is the showing is the source of the truth, and it shows the relevant information, not some old like forgotten or basically irrelevant entries. There is small improvement in support of renaming of catalog items. Some customers are having like tables with technical names like this, and there was a glitch. So whenever you can for a long time you can rename the catalog item to give it some more meaningful name, so that your users can find it in the catalog with the full text search, and they can know that that's the right table. But the catalog import was overwriting this value. So right now the catalog import is behaving correctly. If you assign it custom name, and the catalog and the import process needs to update the catalog item, it will update the schema and the other metadata, but it will not touch this assigned name. So it will stay there in the catalog. Small but very helpful improvement. Then one huge improvement is the invalid record export in SQL pushdown. So we have our pushdown engine with capabilities for processing the both profiling and data quality jobs by SQL pushdown, by generating pretty long SQL statements, pretty long SQL scripts that we are sending to the warehouse, and we let the warehouse to do the processing, which is very efficient. It's good for processing large volumes of data. It's very fast. It's efficient regarding that you don't need pre-allocated resources in terms of like huge DPEs to be able to process large volumes of data. The warehouse is usually sized properly. And it also works without moving the data, but there is a difference in the way how we process these SQL pushdown jobs. These SQL pushdown jobs are running entirely in the SQL engine of the warehouse, being it Snowflake, Databricks, BigQuery, and with that, some of the tools that you have, like these component rules or post-processing plans, they are not compatible with this way of processing. You simply cannot run this Java-based job inside of this SQL warehouse. And one of the biggest gaps regarding the inability of having these post-processing plans was the inability to export invalid records, because the post-processing plans are in most cases used for exporting the invalid record. So we address it not by extending the post-processing plan capabilities. It's nearly impossible to do it in this architecture, but we have added this add pushdown invalid record export option to the monitoring project. So whenever the monitoring project is run in a pushdown mode, you can set up these invalid record pushdown, invalid record export configuration for the tables that are being processed by pushdown. And it's a matter of configuration. You are not spinning up the desktop. You are not creating custom plans or transformations, but you are just setting this export. You are selecting the schema, selecting the table, setting some limits, setting some strategy. You can also set up which additional attribute values should be included in these invalid records. And then once this is configured, then every pushdown run of this monitoring project will update the data in the table. The table has to be in the same data source as the source table, because everything is happening inside of the warehouse. So the benefit is it's very fast and no data is being moved between the warehouse or the DP. It's really local. It's inside of the warehouse. In version 17.0, it works for Databricks and BigQuery. It doesn't work for Snowflake yet. In version 17 for Snowflake, it's planned for 17.1. The reason for that is the Snowflake SQL processing engine. It's the oldest one from what we have, and it has some limitations. So we are modernizing it right now at this time when we are working on the 17.1 release. And there will be a new Snowflake engine supporting both these invalid record export, also supporting aggregation rules and basically with better performance. So this is what's coming next in 17.1. In version 17.0, this invalid record export is available for Databricks and BigQuery SQL pushdown processing. There is new functionality regarding data quality. So we have this some functions for geospatial data quality assessment. There are these functions for assessing area, like one object contains the other object covered by, etc. So these are the geography related functions. You can use them in a rule builder, like you use any other functions. Those functions support several input formats of the data, so they can be string attribute with GeoJSON, WKT, or the hexadecimal or the binary formats of storing the data. It works using the WGS84 model used by GPS, for example. It's compatible with Snowflake pushdown processing. So if you run it on Snowflake with pushdown processing, it's leveraging the built-in Snowflake functions, internal functions for these operations. It has to be run on these geography type attributes, and then it's fully compatible, and it's basically working in the full pushdown mode, not limiting the speed of the rest of DQ evaluation. And also it's giving consistent results. So if you have geospatial data in your Snowflake and you are using them for some calculation using these Snowflake functions, then we are using the same function, so giving exactly the same results as the rest of your data workflows. We have new SQL pushdown engine for IOMET. IOMET is basically engine or lakehouse based on the Apache open source technology, but it's the enterprise grade solution, fully supported by the IOMeet company who is providing it. We have some customers that are for whom is the data sovereignty an important topic, and that's the reason why they have chosen using IOMeet platform for to storing and processing the data. It's not the case for everyone, but it's basically alternative to these snowflakes and big queries that are tied to certain platform. IOMeet runs on virtual machines in any platform. It can be moved easily, and it also provides basically all these data lakehouse functionalities, including its own SQL pushdown, its SQL engine. And for this IOMeet SQL engine, we have implemented the SQL pushdown processing, which works in a very similar way to the SQL pushdown processing on the other platforms. It's using high performance Aeroflight JDBC driver for connection to IOMeet. And the only limitation in 17.1 is no invalid record export capability yet. That was the invalid record export I was talking just a few moments ago. This is a functionality that is being added also in version 17.1 for this particular SQL pushdown processing engine. So then it will be basically complete for all these supported SQL pushdown technologies and providing very similar capabilities regardless of which platform or platforms you choose. We have extended the storage or support of secure storing of connection secrets. In this release, we have support for AWS Secret Manager. So when your workloads are running on AWS platform, on Amazon services, then very often you are using already the Secret Manager, the service for storing the secrets. And this architecture solves the secret zero problem in a very elegant way, because you can use this passwordless identity management integrated security for the machine where the DPE, hybrid DPE is running. So once the DPE is running somewhere, either hybrid DPE or a cloud DPE on AWS in Ataccama, and using this integrated, or this, how did they call it, shared role, or I forgot the name for it, but basically using this infrastructure level authentication without any secret, without any password, then this identity is used when accessing the secret manager. This role is used for accessing the secret manager, and the secret manager is contains the connection secrets for any data source that you may want to connect to. So then once this secret manager is configured, then when setting up credentials, you have this switch here where you can enable using secret management service, and you can basically tell Ataccama to fetch the secret on the time when it's connecting from the secret manager, rather than storing these secrets here. So rotation of the password, but also the security aspect that no secret is being stored in Ataccama is addressed in this way. So this is the very similar functionality that we already have for Azure Key Vault and other secret managers. Now it's extended also for this AWS Secret Manager, which is relevant for Amazon deployments. When your data lives in Amazon, or you have data pipelines in Amazon, that this will be very helpful for you. And on a similar note, we also added support for CyberArk Secrets Manager, which is another third-party solution. In this case, it's compatible with an Amazon, Azure, and Google environments, are also self-managed environments. So the principle here is the same. The CyberArk Secret Manager is managing the secrets, and now you are able to configure it as the secret manager service in the Ataccama, and then use and fetch the secrets to data sources that are stored in this secret manager, and not not being like stored anywhere in the Atacama. And the last improvement regarding data quality catalog is small one. This is for one desktop, where when you are creating desktop plans that are somehow creating JSONs because of some JSON calls, calling some services or some orchestration flows, exporting data in a JSON format, we have extended or we have created this JSON assigner step that allows you to produce this structured format data without workaround. It's been quite cumbersome before. Now it's much easier to create this kind of integration. So that's a wrap up of functionality of data quality and catalog, pushdown improvement with this invalid record export and new pushdown engine for IOMED, big data processing capabilities for filtering the data by data slicing, and then some connectivity and also DQ improvements for the geospatial data or this JSON formatting. That's version 17 in a nutshell. And now Tom Vitiska will tell you about master data management improvements in this release.
Yeah, hello everybody again. Sorry for having the easy tag name too, technical difficulties. And before I jump on the functionalities of version 17.0, I would like to remind what we delivered in the version 16.3 LTS, which is the new event handler and publisher. Why? Because we were extending the functionality of this newly introduced event handler and publishers in the version 17 in a way I will describe in a moment. But the advantage of the new event handler and publisher is that we focused on performance, stability, operability, and we improved a lot of features of this actually outbound streaming interface based on the customer feedback. So definitely something to consider to switch to once you are upgrading to the new version 16.3. And of course now the 16.3.1. JT, if you can click, please. So yeah, those are the functionalities we were adding, and those are available in the version 17.1 and also in the 16.3.1, meaning Service Pack 1. Okay, so what's new? So first is the streaming capability, which means, JT, if you can click, please. Once. It means that actually when you have really small transactions, like I don't know, you're editing something on the front end, so it's a single change. So if the event handler needs a lot of time to prepare for the publishing of one change, the streaming provides the capability to actually pack a couple of changes into the one bucket and publish them at once. So based on the measurement we did, it's at least 8 times faster, but in reality it should be probably much more faster. Then the other improvement is that the fact that the small transactions are wrapped into the single one is visible in the admin center. So there is a streaming ID that wraps all the individual transactions, and on the top of that, there is a detailed trace, what's going on within the processing. So how many records has been read, and we've also extended the visibility into, let's say, a special type of the publisher that's called traversing publisher. So we are providing the details about how many data were actually retrieved from the system for the provision purposes. So that's second improvement. And the third one is the notification when the event handler fails. So we've extended the notification actually principle we used to have for the task execution for the main MDM part, and now you're able to use the same principle to notify when event handler status change. So it means the event handler stop publishing, the event handler failed. So you can then define some of the actions. So launch a workflow, send an email, call a service, whatever you want. So that was the event handler. And now there's a set of smaller things. But before I jump into the improvements, so there's one generic announcement that's related to the support of the actually database technologies for the MDM storage. So starting the version 17.0, we fully switched to PostgreSQL only. So if you're still using Oracle or MS SQL, you can happily stay on the version 16 where this is supported. But please bear in mind that once you are upgrading to the version 17, those two technologies are no longer supported, and you have to switch to the PostgreSQL. And since this point, we'll have a much easier way to actually extending the MDM capabilities, because we are supporting only a single database. The other set of improvements are related to the admin center. So JT, if you will be clicking, so there is a couple of screenshots. So first one is the ability to have a banner that displays the name of the environment. So once you're actually operating the MDM, you clearly know whether you're dealing with a production, some testing environment, dev environment, and then you can actually assess the risk of your actions. The other improvement is the visibility of the lookup management working folders. So it was a little bit hidden, so you had no way where your lookups are being stored, and it was really actually cumbersome for the troubleshooting. And two is more improvements. So now the runtime parameters configuration moved to the front end in the version 16.3. So now you are able to download them, and we've reverted the information from the licensing. So let's say you can easily see when the license goes close to the expiration directly in the admin center. And that's it for the version 17. And I also decided to give you a little bit sneak peek of the functionality that's coming in the next version. And I'll be really brief. So the one functionality is about the reprocessing. So we'll actually provide more granular setting for the reprocess operation, where you will be able to define the starting point of the reprocess. So for instance, if you know that, I'm changing only the merging rules, so I can start the reprocess of the data from the merging operation on. So I will skip all the steps before. And the other thing that you can actually looking forward is a functionality that will enable data stewards to actually review situations where some significant data attributes are changed, and it might impact the matching. So instead of rematching the data on the spot, we'll be reporting it, and data stewards can see it and deal with it with a safe way. Because nowadays, using the actually automated rematch, it usually leads to the identity split, and it caused more harm than good. So coming in the version 17.1, that should be released, let's say, before the summer holidays, so June, July this year. And that's all.
All right, it looks like we have one question in the chat. Do you guys see that?
Yeah. Thank you, Tomer, for giving update of the master data management, and feel free to post more questions in the chat or the question section of the webinar. Right now, we have one question related to the Lineage. So there is question whether on Pass Plus it will be possible to use private link for the Lineage and edge processing when there are hybrid DPEs on Pass Plus, if it will support using private link not only for the DQ processing but also for the Lineage scanner. So maybe Ferry, if you can address this one.
Yeah, so basically, if the protocol that we are using to connect to the source requires private link, then we just utilize the same private link that is created for the hybrid DPEs. So it's not really a difference from the Lineage scanning service to connect to the source compared to the hybrid DPE.
So once the private link is enabled for the DP and it works with DPE, then the Lineage scanner service running at the same port and the same machine and the same DPE should be also capable, also able to use it for accessing the
Correct.
metadata. Thank you. So are there any other questions, or maybe if you can unmute, ask questions yourself, it's possible here. If not, then that's probably the time to wrap up. So thank you for joining us, for having interest into what's new in the version 17. If you are on Pass Plus, it should be really very easy to upgrade to this version. If you are on Pass, it may take some planning, but again, we are able to upgrade you to this new version to provide you access to these new capabilities. There are two more minor releases coming, or one more minor release coming this year, one in 17.1 in July, another one will be now scheduled for October, will be the LTS long-term supported version. So if you are on self-managed or you don't want to skip on this cutting-edge version on the Pass, on the Ataccama Cloud dedicated deployment, then this may be a way for you waiting till the long-term supported release. Thank you, Ferry, and thank you, Tome, for presenting these parts of the platform. And see you next time when we will be presenting the release 17.1 somewhere in the summer. So thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.